Glad to see you, Kristen and Elisa. Glad to see you as well. I'm going to mute everybody there, and we'll get ready. We are starting about 11 minutes early, but that's okay. People that want to can come back and scroll back and sit. And thank you for the two of you being here. I really hate to keep folks waiting, and if it can help you out a little bit, I'm glad to do that. Well, we are in week number 5. And our class sessions this week are, of course, today, Tuesday the 6th, and then I will be in Shawnee on the 8th for the ground-based portion of this course. Here's what we have coming up, case number 7, and we've already done that, okay? Case number 7 was hardware nuts, and we did that case, so that should be already uploaded. Now, the break-even EOQ quiz, that is drawn from case number 6, Badger Jams. You remember we looked at break-even analysis. And then the economic order quantity, where we learned about that in, we saw that in the case dealing with hardware nuts. In addition, there are materials at my supplemental the supplemental website, and I'll go up there for just a second. Find the link there. I'll hit this welcome thing. I've got all this stuff here, and let me do it. And here's the supplemental the link to the supplemental website. Excuse me. And you're going to find files over here that deal with break even, as well as economic order quantity. So you'll want to scroll through here and take a look, because you will find some things, but primarily it's also going to be drawn off of the case number 6 and case number 7, dealing with break even analysis and economic order quantity. Now, all of that being said, let me pop back over here, okay? And I want to make sure that we all are on the same page in terms of what's going on. Now, as I've mentioned almost every class session, we are working ahead. So when we do one of these cases, you should go ahead and I tell you, save it to your desktop on your device, and then upload it for the workshop credit, and then you have it there, okay? And then that also allows you, to have a resource if you wish to look at, because you can always keep whatever you got there now on your device. And so we'd be on top. Now, I'm also working ahead, because today we're going to take a look at spreadsheet case number 12, which is Truman Assembly. And we're going to look at that for a very simple reason. It's case number 12. But also because this case 12, which is, as I said, Truman Assembly, and the last case, which is Pacific Trading, we see Excel used as more like a database, or we see that database functions than we do computational. And so that's to prepare us for using when we move into the access cases. And the truth is also we have 6 access cases, and many folks have never seen access. They've never worked with it. And so it may be a new experience. So what I've done is say, okay, I will just kind of work us through so we have time to be leisurely if we care to do that with the 6 access cases. So all of that being said, I also want to mention, as far as the exam, and let's see, let me do this, open it up. You'll see at the bottom of the welcome announcement, okay, let's see, where have I got that? Yeah, here's a PDF, resources for the BISS 1123 exams, and that tells you where to find stuff or what case a quiz or exam is based on, okay? Now, I think I also failed to mention, let me pop back down here to week number 5, okay? You also have a quiz from Stephen Few, and that's over chapter 6. That's the Show Me the Numbers book, the great big book. Now, I know sometimes when you guys look at this, this can be a little bit deceiving when you see multiple due dates. What that means is that there have been some accommodations, and I won't go any further than that. Okay, and so that's really all that's going on. Now, we're going to take a look at Chapter 12, case number 12, and as usual, you need to have your book with you if you intend. You need to have your book with you if you intend to really get the maximum out of the case. All right, and we're going to look at this today, and we're going to be primarily we're going to be we're going to develop a customized sort, 2 or 3 of them. Then we're going to develop an object that is supported that is linked to a macro, which is nothing more than a recording of a series of keystrokes, and we'll use the 2 of them to automate this process. And you'll see as we walk through what we're going to do. Well, it's over there. The case starts over on page 111, and for all intents and purposes, what they do is the usual thing. They give us, they give us the information about the company, and they give us some information about what the problem is, and these are folks who are trying to handle their supply chain. Now, when we did the economic order quantity case, we looked at how much to order. At this point, we're kind of building on that because we're going to look at how fast a vendor gets stuff to us. And again, that supply chain is an important thing to see. Now, if I'm not mistaken, back on the supplemental website, I had some files there. I'm going to click files here for a minute and see if I have anything over here in the files that you might want to see. So I'll take a look down here and scroll through, and I'm looking through anything that would give us some more perspective, okay, on this case. Because I always like you to see that there's just more than just simply the case. There's it has very real world practical ramifications. Excuse me. So I think what we're going to need to do is go out of here. Okay, and let me see if I've got something here in these. Okay, thanks for bearing with me here for a sec. I try to curate a lot of material for everybody, and so you can really see the practical ramifications or importance, if you will, for a given case. Now, before I do that, I want to mention this resource, which you want to take a look at. Tableau is a software application that is trying to do 3 things. One, serve as an analytic engine, i.e. like Excel, like a spreadsheet, also function like a database. And then the other is that it has some tools for mapping. So you'll want to go over and take a look at Tableau and see how it's put together. Now, I'm going to go back up here to the mod. We're in the modules, okay? And I'll close this back off so we have some room here. And I'm going to go back out to, well, I'm going to go back to the supplemental website. So let me open this back up. Because I do recall now some files there. I want to bring them to your attention as quickly as I can. Okay. Let's see what we've got here. I think I've got a JPEG on supply chain, and so I want you to take a look at that. Here it is, supply chain flows, and I'm just going to download this and show you what we're talking about when we talk about the supply chain. What this basically shows us is a very simple picture of the supply chain, starting from suppliers, okay, of components to people who make parts, and then the original equipment manufacturer. They're the ones who take all the parts and put them together, and then of course retail. And you could see the flow down to parts, down to a product, and then you can see the flow of orders coming backwards towards these folks. These folks order from here, these folks order from here, these folks order from here, and then you see the flow of dollars. The interesting thing is you see a flow of information running both directions. And in the past, there have been firms, say a retailer, who says, I want to own the stuff that I make. You see this a lot in places, in grocery stores, where they have their own brand of milk or ice cream or whatever. And here, sometimes the OEM or even the retailer will try to own the parts company or buy them out. This is, when we do this, this is what we call a vertical merger, okay? Because you're going back up the supply chain. Now, if one of them in the same class tries to acquire the other, they call it a horizontal merger. So I wanted to show you that, and let's take a look at it. And I think I also have something about the FedEx Super Hub. So let me scroll up here for just a sec. As you can see, over the years, I've tried to curate quite a bit of stuff. And let's see if there's. If not, you can go over to you can go. If not, you can go over to YouTube, and they have several videos there that really show you what a fantastic thing. I think they show you the FedEx Super Hub operating at Christmas time, and so you may want to go over there and take a look at that. And then we also have a resource dealing with lawnmower components. And I'm going to download this. Okay. These folks are in the lawnmower business. I want to show you how the incredible detail. You can see all the parts that are used just to make this top, which is attached into a body or a chassis. The wheels, everything. I mean, you can see, pretty complex. And so you got to have all this stuff if you're going to assemble a certain number of lawnmowers. And this becomes rather complicated if you, as you would well imagine. This is the finished product, and you can see the assembly. This is just the one piece. Here's the assembly that has to occur, okay, in order to get you to the finished product. Okay, so we have to be concerned about that. So we're looking at a typical business problem, i.e. evaluating my vendors, okay? And we're going to close this off for just a second, all right? And we're going to go over to we're here in the modules section. And we'll make sure that we're in good shape here. There we go. And I'll pop this back up for just simply for sake of seeing everything. Now, let's go into the files, and we're going to work with the Solve It 6.0 files. Okay, those are the student files, and then we're going to begin to do our work. And you just scroll down and you'll find it. And there it is, the student 6.0, Solve It 6.0 student files. And we're going to download that. Okay. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to get Truman. And I have mine. I'm just going to take Truman and throw it on the desktop. Okay. Now I'm going to rename this, and Truman Q, and I'm going to call it Harmon Keith. Okay. Now I want to open this up. all right? And I'm going to click Enable Editing, which we can do. And then I'm going to save it, all right? Now, we're going to develop some macros. So before I do that, I need to make this into an Excel file that I can use to create macros, okay? So I'm going to click on here, Save As, all right? And I'm going to put it on my desktop. And I'm going to come here to the bar and I'll make this an Excel macro-enabled workbook, which means we can build, I want a macro-enabled worksheet or macro-enabled workbook, doesn't matter. Put it on my desktop and boom. So I made it in a macro-enabled workbook, meaning I can use that, macros. Now, let me close this for just a second. I want to show you, if you look right here above my friend Cardinal Buddy, you're going to see that it's a macro enabled because of that little exclamation point. Now, what that is saying is, hey, there are macros in here. Macros we have to be careful with because that's the place where somebody can embed an executable code and create problems. And typically, when people hack, they do what they call an SQL injection. So they'll go into the SQL that's in or the underlying code and insert the malicious code, and that creates a problem. So we always want to make sure that we know we're working with macros. Well, it's a macro-enabled workbook, so I'm going to open this back up, okay? And this also gives us occasion to take a look at just what I'm seeing here. And this is basically a table. I could take this table, I could import it into an Access database or any other database that would take it and create a table. And this is a table that's got some elements, things like the vendor name, okay? Let's see, the item number, the item description, okay? And vendor number and order number, those are all what we call dimensions or dimension fields. You'll notice that this table has more rows than it does columns. Now we have some things also here like a fact. Okay, we have a fact column because it's something I can count, or I can do mathematical operations with it. Same with quantity, same with cost per order. Then we have the trade terms, and that's a dimension. Promised ship date, that's a fact. I can average these. I can subtract. In fact, I do that over here. Then the promised transit. So let's look at this first record. And what they're saying here is, okay, you promised that it would be, I would get it by the, you promised that you would ship it by the 2nd, okay? And you've estimated it's going to take about 6 days to get to me. The actual arrival date was the 7th, okay? And the days overdue -1, which means that they got it to us earlier because we thought it would be April the 8th, 2008 instead of April 7th, okay? So we had that data here. Now, we're going to develop the macros. You said, where are you in the case? Well, we've covered page 110, page 111. And now we're going to come over to page 112. And as usual, we have some tasks to be performed, okay? And so we're going to do that, all right? And we're going to create some macros while we do it, all right? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my cursor, all right? Well, pardon me. Let's go over to View, click on the View button, and on the far right, you should see a thing called View Macros. And I'm going to click on that and view the macros. Now, I don't have any, but I'm going to create the first one, and I'm going to call it vendor sort. Okay. Now I got a feeling I'm going to get something some squirrely message from it, but let's just see. Okay. And I've got the name, and then let's click recreate. Okay. And I'm going to go back up to Excel. Okay. And let's see, I want to view my macros. Okay. And I want to go ahead and edit it. Let's just cancel this for a minute because I don't like what I'm seeing here. Go back for just a second. I'm gonna delete that, and we're going to record a macro. I'm sorry. Let's start with the recording. We're going to record it. My apologies. And we're going to call it vendor sort. I apologize. I just don't do many of these, and the memory banks just don't flow as easily. Vendor sort. Okay, and here I'm going to put capital V for control. Okay, and I'm going to put in a description. Now for the vendor sort, and I'm over on page 112, they want the vendor name in alphabetical order, so that's going to be AZ, because you'll notice if you go over and you look at the filter, you'll see an AZ, which means ascending. So they want these vendor names alphabetized. And then we want the item number. And that's going to be in ascending order. So I'll put AZ. I'm so sorry about that earlier, a little glitch. And then the third is we have cost. Yeah, we have cost. Okay, per order. Okay. And so I've got the vendor name, which is in ascending order, the item number that's in ascending order, and then the cost per order. And this time it's going to be in descending. Okay. And so I've got the hotkey for it, Control Shift and V, and I'm going to store the macro in this workbook. And here's the description. The vendor name is in ascending order, the item number in ascending order, and the cost per order in descending order, largest to small. So I'll click OK. Now, just to make sure we're doing good, I'll click on here, and if you see it says stop recording, we're good. We're recording. All right, so we're going to do that search. Now, again, a macro is nothing more. It just simply copies all of your keystrokes. That's all it does. All right. So we're going to go all the way down here to M73. And of course, we're going to start at A7. Okay. Now, I'm going to come over and click on the home button. All right. And I'm going to come over here to sort and filter. And you see the AZ, which means smallest to largest, and ZA means largest. I mean, this means smallest to largest AZ, and ZA means just the opposite, in descending order. And I'm going to click, and I'm going to find custom sort. We want to make sure that it says my data has headers. Got that clicked. And we're going to do our custom sort. The primary sort is going to be the vendor name. Okay. And this is in ascending order. And then I'm going to add a level, okay? And that's going to be the item number. And I want that smallest to the largest, okay? And then I'm going to add a third level, and that's going to be cost per order. And in this case, I'm going to go largest to smallest. So we'll stop here for a moment. And, and when we're recording a macro, there's no need to get anxious or nervous about it. It just records keystrokes, okay? That's all it does. And then when it's through, we're doing keystrokes, it's over with. And I'll show you here in a little bit what the project looks like. So I've got this done. So this first one, the first sort is what we call the primary sort. The second is what we call a secondary sort, and the third one we call a tertiary sort. Tertiary, if I'm not mistaken. Tertiary meaning tangential or third. And so we're ready now to click OK, and it's going to do the sort. And we'll check it. We'll see, are they? Yeah, these vendor names are lined up alphabetically. Okay. The item numbers, are they in orders we want? Yes. Okay. And again, it's going to start with, since it starts with vendor name, you're going to get that applied to vendor name, then applied to Eagle Technology, then applied to Eldorado Components, then to Faulkner Fasteners, J&J Plastics, Reputable Inc. You can see what we've got here. And so I just have my vendors, okay, and I have the latest they've ever been, and that's on days overview, okay. And I think in this case, they were promised it the 29th, and we got it the 3rd, okay. And we had transit time in there as well. So I'm going along with that, all right. And I'm going to go back to view and go back to the view tab. I'm going to go back to the macro, and I'm going to stop recording. Now, let's look at our macro we just created. Let's view the macros. Here's the vendor sort. Okay, that's the name. And it has it opens with a control V. And here's our description. Okay. And we'll click cancel. We'll just go ahead and click that off because we've got it done now. Okay. And now let's do the second macro. So we'll come back up here and we're going to click record macro. And this time we're going to call it fast arrival. These are the people who get stuff to us fast. Call it fast arrival. And that's going to be control F. And here we have the following. I'm getting this all from page 112, what they ask us to do. I'm going to start with days overview. Okay. And I want that in ascending order. And then I want the vendor name and I want that in ascending order. Okay, so I wanted fast arrival, and let me see. I want to look at this for a minute. And I'm looking at this for just a second. We've done the vendor sort. And the days overview is in ascending order. And then we want the vendor names alphabetically. And that's it for that one. So we'll click OK. And we click here, and we're still recording. And so I'm going to come here, I'm going to highlight from A7 all the way down to M73. And here I'm going to go back to home. I'm going to come back to the custom sort. I'm going to do my custom sort, make sure it says my data has headers. Here, I'm going to get the days overdue. And I'm going to make that smallest to largest. And then I'm going to get the vendor name and put that in A to Z. And I'm going to click this one, and I'm going to delete it, the last one. Okay? And I'll click OK. It's going to do the sort. And then I'm going to come back to view, come back to the macros, and now I'll click stop recording. And it's stopped. Now, let's view the macros. Now we have fast arrival, okay? And the days overview are ascending. The vendor name is ascending order. Okay. Now, just to see this, I'm going to click on vendor sort, the first one we created, and I'm going to click run. And it gives us that very first one. I'm going to come back here, it will be the macros, and I'm going to click on fast arrival. Let me have it run. And I'll come back over here just for good measure. I'll click vendor sort and have it run. Okay. Now we're going to create a third macro, and so we'll come over here in the view and we'll click record macro, and this will be slow arrival. These are people who get stuff to us slower than they should, and I'm going to put a S in there for the control S, and this one, the description will be days overdue. Okay, and this will be in ascending order. And days overdue is going to be in descending order. Take a look at this. So slow arrival is going to be days overdue in descending order. We've got that. And we're doing our description. And this will be vendor names. And that's going to be in ascending or alphabetical order. And I'll click OK. And now I'm going to come back over to home. And I'm going to click here. I'm going to do my custom sort. I got to select my cells, excuse me. That helps. So I'm going to go from, I think it's A7 down to M73. Now I'm ready to do my customizable sort. Customize sort, make sure it says my data has headers. And this time I have days overdue. And I'm going to put that largest to smallest. And then we're going to have the vendor name. And let's find vendor name. And that will be in ascending order. And then this cost by order, I'm going to delete it. delete that level. I'll click OK, and it executes. Okay. So now we see who sent who. This is the days overdue in descending order from the largest to the smallest. I'll come back over here and click View. I'll come to Macros and I'll click Stop Recording. Okay, so we've created 3 macros. Now, let's go up here, okay, and take a look at the macros. We have 3 of them. We have fast arrival, and I'll click Run, okay. We have also slow arrival, so we'll click Run. And then we can view the macros that we can click the vendor sort. I'll click Run, okay, which is nice, but this is a little bit of work. So we're going to create some command buttons that we will be able to execute the queries without having to go through all these steps. So I'm going to click Insert, and I'm going to come over to Shapes, okay, and I'm going to use just plain rectangle here, okay, and I'm going to right-click it, and I'm going to write Edit Text, and for the text, let's see, I want to click, and I want the text, the font to be white. And this will be vendor sort. And to make that a little bit clearer, I can come here, okay, and I can go ahead and edit I can go ahead and make this bold and a little bit bigger. So it says vendor sort. All right. I'm going to get another, I'm going to insert another shape. And again, I'm going to get a rectangle. Okay. And then I'm going to click Edit Text. And on this one, I'm going to use, again, white font, bold, 14, and this will be called Fast Arrival. Now, since these people are going fast arrival, I'm going to click on Edit, and on the fill, I'm going to use a green. Okay, and here I have fast arrivals, which means these are the vendors. These guys are a fast arrival. And I can take this and you know, smudge it out so it's the same size as the other. Okay, same thing up here. In fact, I could have just duplicated it, but that's all right. We'll do this. I think are fairly decent. Now I want to do a third one. Okay, so I'm just going to click on this one I've created here, and I'm going to click Copy. I'm come down here and I'm click Paste. Now this says fast arrival, okay, but this is going to be slow arrival, and I'm going to click I want to edit this. This is going to be slow arrival, and I'm going to use for the fill, I'm going to use red. Oh, I click the home over here. I want this to be completely red. There we go. Now I have the vendor sort, fast arrival, and slow arrival. Okay? No big deal there. Now I'm just going to associate these buttons with the macro, and that will make them a command button. This toolbar up here, for example, operates off the same principle. When I click a choice, it gives me a drop-down menu and an explanation, then it might give me options, and whatever I choose, it executes. Here on the vendor sort, click on it and click right. And it will say assign macro. Okay? And we're going to assign it the vendor sort. I'll click OK. Now I'll know it's live or hot or ready to use if I put my cursor and it turns to a little hand. So it's ready. I'm going to right click on fast arrival, and I'm going to assign a macro, and that's going to be here. And I'll click OK. And I know it's ready. If I go ahead and do this, put the hand on it. Okay. And then on the slow arrival, I'm going to click on it, assign a macro, and I'm going to assign it, of course, the slow arrival. Okay. Now, let's try these and see how well they work. I'm going to click vendor sort, and there it is. All right. Then I'm going to do fast arrival, and then I'm going to do slow arrival, not revival. I'm sorry. And that's what they want us to do in terms of creating those. And so we've created some command buttons here. Now, let's click on view for just a minute, and I want to show you. We're going to click view macros. Okay. And I'm going to start with the vendor sort, and I'm going to click step into, and we'll see the VBA that's underneath here, the Visual Basic. Okay. And this is a subroutine called vendor sort. Here, these green lines, that's comments. And then it shows us the range of cells, and then what are active. And so that's the range A7 to M73, and then it tells us what we're going to do. Same story down here on fast arrival. Same thing here on slow arrival. It's a little bit beyond this course, but these are, we call them modules, okay, because they're attached to an object. Now to get out of this, I just click back up on the Excel. All right, and I'll view the Microsoft Excel. And that's really all that they want us to do in Truman Assembly, is just, do my sort, do the fast arrivals, or do the slow arrivals. And that's all I have to do. Okay. And so I want to go up to the home. And this should be, I don't understand why this is frozen up on me. Let me go back here for a minute. And go to view the macros. And I'm going to step into it. Okay. Oh, it can't. Okay. I have to take it out. And let's see. I've got the vendor sort. And I'm going to run it. I'm just going to run it. Okay. And let's see, what do I want to do here? Okie dokie. I'm going to close this off and then reopen it. All right. And there you'll see the little distinctive mark says it's a macro. Sometimes it can give us some conniption fits when we step into it. It expects us to edit it. Okay, and it didn't. I'll click on view. Okay, it didn't save those for us, which is odd. It should have. So we've gone through that process and we created those. I'm not sure what happened here, why it didn't save them. Okay, that I don't understand. Let me click over on view. And this is a macro enabled. Huh. Strange. I don't get that at all. Okay, let's go through it one more time. Let's see just what I might have done. Because first of all, this should be a macro enabled workbook. That is. And let's see, let's open it back up. And these should be saved. Let's just do it one more time. And let's click over here on view. Let's click macros. Okay. And we're going to do vendor sort. Okay. Well, I want to create easy B2B. Hang on a minute. And let me move this off for just a minute. Close this. We'll close this. And now I'll go back up here. Okay. And then we'll do the recording. It's acting funny and I don't get that, but we're just gonna record a macro. And we've done it, we'll post it again. Vendor name. And that's going to be Control V, Shift V. And then we have our description, and that's going to be vendor name. And that's in ascending order. And then we want the item number. And that's going to be in ascending order. So that'll be an AZ. And then we want the cost per order in descending order. Cost per order. Okay. And that will be, so we're good there. Okay. And now we'll do our work. We'll sit here to see how we haven't stopped the recording yet. So we're going to go ahead and come back. Go all the way down here. And let's see, I'm going to come over to home. I'm going to do the sort and filter, the custom sort. And my data has headers, and I'm going to do it by vendor name, A to Z. I'm going to add a level, and that will be item number. And that's going to be the smallest to largest. And then the cost per order, we're going to add that level. And that'll be largest to smallest. Right, and we'll click OK. And we'll run it. All right, now let's go over here to view. And we'll click on this and we'll stop recording. So now we have our vendor. Okay, now we're just going to go ahead and do the insert. I'm going to insert a star. And I'm not sure what's going on with this, but I want it to, sometimes I just have to kind of troubleshoot that. We're going to do the rectangle. And this is going to be this type. And so we're going to we'll edit the text. And this will be vendor sort. Okay, and I'm going to assign it to a macro, and that will be vendor sort. Okay, and we should be able to run it. All right. Now we're going to do this. We're going to go back, and we're going to click record macro, and I'm going to do a slow arrival. And then it would be Control S, let me Shift S, and this will be days overdue. Days overdue. And that's going to be in descending order, so it'll be ZA. And then we want the vendor name. And that's going to be in ascending order or alphabetical order. We'll click OK. And we're going to go ahead and then execute here. Highlight everything from A7 down to M73. And I'm going to click Home. Pardon me. Yeah. And I'm going to click Custom Sort. And in this case, I want the I want the days overdue. We'll find that here for just a second. There it is, days overdue. I want that largest to smallest. Make sure it says days headers. And then I want the vendor name. Okay, and that's in ascending order. And then this last one I'm going to get rid of. I'll click OK, and there it is. Now, I'm going to go back over to View, click on Macros, and I'm going to click Stop Recording. All right, and now this time I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to insert another shape, and I'm going to do a rectangle, and I'm going to make it like a red, so it's slow, and then I'm going to edit the text. Slow arrival. Okay, and then I'm going to click here, and it's going to say assign macro, and I'm going to click assign macro, and this one will be slow arrival. Okay, and I'm going to do the vendor sort, and I'm going to do slow arrival. All right, and there it is. And now let's just do this. Let's go ahead and click on view, and we'll see. We're going to record a macro, and we'll do the fast arrival again. Record the macro, and it will be called fast arrival. Okay, and this one will be the control with an F, and this one is going to be days overdue. In ascending order, and then we want the vendor name, and we'll do that in ascending order, alphabetical, and we'll click OK. Now we'll come over and put our cursor on A7, and we'll go down to M73. I'll click on the home button and come over here and do a custom sort, and I'm going to have days overdue, and this time it will be smallest to largest, and the vendor name will stay. And we've done that, and then we'll click up here on view again, the view tab, and we'll stop recording. Okay, now we should be able to do and now we can create a button. So we'll click insert shapes, and we're going to get another rectangle, and this one's going to be green, and this one will be fast arrival. So we'll do the, and I'm going to edit the text, and this will be fast arrival. Okay, and then I'm going to assign it to a macro, and it'll be fast arrival. Okay, now we're ready to do this, so we'll do the vendor sort. Whoops. I get slow arrival, fast arrival, okay, and then vendor sort. That's the one that's giving us some problems. Let's look at slow arrival. Here's this. Fast arrival, here's this. Okay, but the vendor sort, we may not have assigned it a macro. So let's click up here and we will associate it with vendor sort. Okay. And it should work for us. I don't know why it's not doing that. Get the slow arrival, the fast arrival. And let's try to assign this to a different name. Vendor name, we'll just call it that. And that was it, yeah. Okay. There's the vendor name. And what I'm going to do on here is I will just go ahead and edit the text. And we'll call that vendor name. And there we are. There's the vendor name. There's the slow arrival. And there's a fast arrival. Now, I think what I did do is save this as a macro-enabled workbook. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click File, Save As, and I'm going to put it on my desktop. And I'll make sure that it's a Microsoft-enabled workbook. And I'm going to click OK. And we'll replace it. All right. And now let's go ahead and close it. Yeah, we'll save the changes we made to it. And that should do it. Okay. Let me open this back up and let's see what we're looking at. Yep. What I had to do was save it as an enabled workbook. Then we'll click Enable the Content. All right, and now we're ready. We can use it. Okay, that was my fault. And again, a thing that when you save this, you have to go through everything, make it an enabled workbook, or take it and as you save it. And I saved it. I made it such, but I needed to save it to keep the macros. Okay, and there they are: vendor name, slow arrival, and fast arrival. Now, this is just doing the sorts, okay, just sorting them like on a very fast basis, all right? And we might want to do something like we have to do some kind of a, some type of computation. So I'm going to try one more thing here. And so I'm going to come up here and let's click View. Click on the macros and let's record a macro. Okay. And I'm going to call this overdue days. Okay. And I'm going to put Control Shift O for overdue. And this is going to be vendor name, and we'll put that in ascending order. And then we're going to put days overdue in descending order Z to A. And then we're going to use promised transit time. And we're going to get that in A to Z. All right. And we'll click this. We'll make sure we're still recording, and we are. So now we're going to go over here, and we're going to do our custom sort. Oh, I want to grab everybody here. And I will go back up here. Now I'm ready to do my custom sort. I got to have myself there, custom filter. And I want the vendor name. Okay. Pardon me. I want days overdue. And I want largest to smallest. Then I want the vendor name. And then I want to add a level, and that's going to be promised transit time. Okay. And we'll put that from largest to smallest. We'll click OK. And it's going to run. And then we'll come back up to view. We'll click on it. And we're going to stop recording. Okay. Now, I want to go ahead and insert a shape. And this time, I'm going to use a circle or an oval. And let's see, I'm going to edit the text. And this will be days overdue. Okay. And I'm going to assign this to a macro, and it will be the overdue days. Okay. If I want to edit that text, I'll have to come in and order the macro. There it is. Boom. Now, if I want to edit a macro, like I said there, I click here and say view the macros, and I'm going to choose that overdue days. And I want to click edit. And we'll close that off. I want to edit the text. I'm going to call it overdue days. Okay. That gives us that here, here, and here. Now, I don't necessarily have to do just sorts and filters. I can also I could perform an operation, okay, like sum all of these, and I'd let you explore that, on your own and see. We can just try one. Let's go ahead and let's click record a macro, and I'm going to call this summy. Summy DO, meaning summary of days, sum of days overdue. I think I'll put sum DO. And on that one, I think we'll use the O key, and this will be we're going to run the sum of days overdue. I forget, because I just don't use macros that much in Excel, whether I'll be able just to do this. So click OK. Okay, and it says already assigned. So I'm going to give it Control Shift Z. I'll click OK. And we'll click up here to see if we are still recording. Yes, you are. I'm going to start right here, Days Overview. I'll click Home first, and I'm going to get the equal the sum. I'm going to take all the way down, okay, and just a little bit below, and I'm going to do auto sum. Okay, and then I'm going to compute the average. And that's going to be M7 M73. We'll get the average of that. Click OK. And that's giving me a weird thing. M7 to M73. Oh, I see what I did. I want M8. Pardon me, folks. I want M8. There we go. Got M7 to M8, the sum of M8 to 73. That's the sum. And I want the average. It's not playing nice with me for some reason. But let's do this. We've got the sum, and let's just go ahead and click View, and let's stop recording. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to create another shape. One more. I'm going to click Insert. And this time, and we're just playing around at this point. Try this weird triangle thing. And we'll put, I'm going to edit the text. Sum of days overdue. All right. And then it says, do you want to assign a macro? And we will. We'll come over here and we'll get sum do. I'll click OK. And that should be ready to operate for us. There it is. So let's run through this. We got the vendor name. Okay. And we do the slow arrival. And we've got the fast arrival. Okay. And we've got the overdue days. And there we be. Now, let's go back to the vendor name for a minute. And on this, instead of 3 days overdue, let's make it, well, we'll have to change the others. So that's all right. We played around with it. Well, folks, listen, we started about 12 minutes early, and it's 1:27, so we're roughly close to that 75-minute mark that we need. But you've seen it. So now, again, I'm going to save this as, just to be on the safe side, on my desktop, okay, as a macro-enabled workbook. And I'll click Save, and it'll say, you want to replace it? Yeah. And we'll close it off, and we're done. So now what you want to do is upload that file we just messed with in there, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to upload the Truman Q. So I'll go to the desktop over here, excuse me. And here it is, Truman Q, Keith, Harmon Keith. And I'm going to upload it. Okay, and it should be uploading the file, and there it is. Then I'm going to do this. I'm going to go into student view. Okay. And I'm going to come over here to the syllabus section. And I'm going to find upload XLS 12 here, 12, trim and assembly here. Okay. And I'm going to click submit assignment. And I'm going to choose a file. I don't want that. I want this one. Desktop. And there it is. I'll click open. And I can add another file if I want. And I'll submit the assignment. Now it's submitting itself, okay? Now, if I want to, I can download it. Or if I want to go back to submission details, I can do that. And here's the file. So if I want to download it, I can use it. All right, now I'm going to leave the student view and go back. And I think that'll pretty much, so it's going to take me a minute. All right, good. And that pretty much does it. So we'll start on Pacific. On Wednesday, I'll start on case number XL case 13, which is Pacific Trading. And then, of course, we'll do it on Wednesday as well. So we've seen we've used this like a database. We've created macros. We've created icons that we can use to execute the macros. We've done customized sorts. So we've used Excel there as more like a database, as opposed to a thing that we use to do calculations with. And then Pacific Q will work with the pivot tables and see that really happen. So again, thank you so much, those of you who are here, and hope everybody else tunes in to see what's going on. And I'm going to stop the share. Okay, and I'm going to stop the recording and